Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Tiffany, and so today I have another planner flip through for you. It is for 2023, although this planner does start in July of 2022, so if it's something you're interested in grabbing right now, you can. So this planner is called Moon Magick Witch Lunar Planner. And it's this really cool planner that has a lot of, it just basically has monthly views along with weekly views, but it's really in tune with the lunar cycle. So if you're somebody who is interested in, designing your life and being more in tune with the lunar cycle, this planner might be for you. So I'm going to go ahead to the table and I'm going to do the flip through. All right, so I'm going to flip through the Moon Magick Witch Lunar Planner. As you'll notice, it is it's actually almost like a book, so it very much feels like a book, and it's 7 inches by 10 inches in terms of dimension. All right, and again, it starts July 2022 through December 2023. So opening up the book, you will notice it has the standard this book belongs to. It has a Hecate devotion in it. So this is a very, very witchy oriented planner, which is super cool. And then before we get into the calendaring, we're going to see a lot of like references. So sections where you can kind of reference things as it relates to the moon and the moon cycles. So on this page, we have the way of the moon. So it has all kinds of different symbols and things that are associated with the moon. So for example, the moon tarot card, Cancer, in terms of zodiac sign, plants and herbs that are associated with the moon, gemstones, and goddesses. On this next page, we have the lunar phases, and we also have a reference for the energy associated for each moon phase. So for example, the new moon is associated with new beginnings, endless possibility, and the banishment of stagnant energies. Next, we have the moon name. So every month, as you know, the moon has a name, and they actually have more than one name. So for all months, there are the different moon names that are associated with them. There's also a little explanation about when the harvest moon appears. Over here we have lunar magic. So if you'd like to use the moon in terms of magical practice, there is a reference here for how to leverage each phase of the moon for that. Then we have 2 incantations. We have a full moon energy incantation, and then we have a new moon energy incantation. So again, this is a really cool reference. Next, we have lunar rituals. So rituals for the new moon and for the full moon. So for the new moon, it's be the seed, and there's an explanation of what to do here. And there's also a full moon, be the dance, and with an explanation here. Next, we have moon water cleansing rituals. So it tells you that the tools that are needed for this, and then it gives you all the instructions that you need for that moon water cleansing ritual. And then on the next page, we have over here the moon garden. So if you wanted to set up a moon garden, it gives you options for plants and flowers to consider down here at the bottom. All right, and then we're going to get into the calendaring portion. So I'm going to jump over to 2023 and show you what this looks like. So this, from a calendaring perspective, the way this works is that there is at a year at a glance, there's 2 layouts, which I'll get into, and then there's a monthly view, and there's also a weekly view. And then every month, there's also an opportunity to set intentions with the moon. So right here, we have the year at a glance planning. So this year at a glance calendaring system is intended more for planning around goals and intentions. You'll see that top 3 yearly goals you can put down here, and then this section is just meant to be a high level place for you to do some planning around your goals and intentions. Then there's a second yearly layout here that's really just for most important dates. So you can obviously choose whatever you want that to be. It can be things in your practical life, but it can also be things in your magical life. Like maybe you want to put the different holidays or, Wheel of the Year dates. Next, we have a reference for 2023 lunar phases. So you'll notice that January through December, you're able to very quickly look at the lunar phases and the dates that they're on. And then we get into the calendar view for January, which is a pretty basic setup. And then next, what we have is, before we get into the weekly views, you'll see that there's Lunar Magick meditations. So this is a place for you to, using the references at the beginning of this book, to then write things for each moon phase. So, new moon, there's a little bit of a prompt here: new beginnings, clean slate, intention. So what is the intention you're setting for January, for example? Full moon, celebration, peak magic, wholeness. What might you celebrate or recognize during this full moon? So it just gives you an opportunity to really kind of document your rituals, your meditations around each phase of the moon. Maybe you're celebrating, maybe you're doing crafts, whatever it is. And then you'll notice with the weekly view is, here it says color in the moon phase. So this is designed for you to go ahead and just color in the moon phases for each day. And then each weekly view it starts Monday through Sunday, and it's funny because it actually starts so the pages don't go across. You'll notice that Monday starts here and the week finishes over here, and then there's also space for goal of the week. Same with this page. Monday starts on this page and it finishes out on the second page, and it's goal of the week. And so that's really how things are set up. And then once we get into February, at the end of each calendar month, you have some blank pages to write with. And then we get into the next month. And again, Lunar Magick meditations. What would you like to celebrate, meditate on? Crafts, what crafts are you doing? That kind of thing. You'll also notice that there are references for the Wheel of the Year. So here's Imbolc, for example. So those are listed inside the weekly view of this planner. Okay, so that completes my flip through, because the rest of the planner is exactly what you saw there. So for every month you have that Lunar Magick, you have weekly and monthly views, and there's some space for some notes. So if you have any questions about this planner, please let me know. I think it's pretty cool.